How's it going, guys? Your boy Freelancer here. So today, since it's a bit of a quiet week and there aren't any interesting albums really popping in the hip-hop sphere, I want to talk about Lil Uzi Vert's Eternal Atake. One of the reasons why I want to talk about this because it's my second favorite album of the year so far. It was a hip-hop album of the year so far. And yeah, and I feel like it's kind of an interesting album to talk about, especially the highlights on the album. And now, second best album of this year isn't much of a compliment because this year it's been a pretty whack year for hip hop. It's been a whack year in general, in my opinion, but it's especially a whack year for, or not a very impressive year for hip hop, especially for overall albums. Now, Lil Uzi Vert in general, I never really got into Lil Uzi Vert. I always kind of wrote them off as like another mumble rapper because there was a bunch of them at the time coming out, like Playboy Carti, Young Thug, Future, him, and like Lil Yachty, a bunch of them, right? Or Yachty, a bunch of them, right? Now, what kind of put me onto Lil Uzi Vert was his verse and shows. Like, that verse is just brilliant to me. You know, mask on my face when we're running your place, so we need every combination to the safe and everyone cooperating, everyone's safe. Like, I knew a bit later on in the verse where it's like, you know, me and my apes took up banana cuts, so busted your grape. Like, I was like, man, it's actually kind of a good verse because it's very charismatic. It's kind of like he's got like charisma on it. He's got great vocals on it, and that beat was great too. So it was like, I'm like, wow, does this guy have stuff like that? And so I was interested. I was automatically like, wow, this guy's good. I like this guy. He's pretty good. He's not amazing, but he's got a song that I like, right? So he's kind of like put him on that level of like maybe like a Future or someone like that, where sure, he's not a nerd, he's not, you know, mind blowing, but he's good, and I love that verse. And it caught my attention. Now with this album, do I think this album is like an amazing masterpiece, great album? Not really, no. And one of the things that kind of confused me is like it's trying to go for like with the marketing and the artwork and even the way the track listings laid out, like it's going for like a space concept album, and it's not really that at all. It's just like a pop rap album, really, with some great tracks on it, in my opinion. Now, the production overall, I felt it was pretty good, and I felt Lil Uzi Vert worked with the production really well, and that's what I look for. I don't necessarily look for like great rhymes or bars. Now, that puts you in the upper echelon if you have great beats, great rhymes, and great vocals, and I said great beats and great vocals and great rhymes on top of that, and great storytelling on top of that. That puts you in the upper echelon. To me, the best songs on this album had great beats and good vocals and kind of whatever rhymes, right? Like even like Shells was better than anything on here lyrically. Now I want to go over the beats that I love in this thing, because there's about 4 or 5 really good songs in it. I'll say 4 really good songs on this, but there's about 6 beats that I like, or at least 5 beats that I really like on this thing. So one of my favorite songs is Silly Watch. I love the beat, I love the pianos, I love how it alternates the octaves, I love how Lil Uzi Vert sounds when he alternates with the piano as well. Like he's dropping his upper register when he comes in, and then he kind of goes down a bit and he goes up. I love that. I love it. Adds a dynamic to the song, adds progression to the song, and I love Lil Uzi Vert's flow in it. It goes, I came through with a new body, like I love that. It just sounds really good. I think Free Uzi Part 2 kind of uses a similar flow, and I love that. I felt like that song's really great. I love the pinball sample on You Better Move. I like it. I like the way, again, Lil Uzi Vert kind of hits a pocket with that song, and it works, you know, like I love that flow he has in there, and it really adds like a unique flavor to it, and that's what I love about it. And another song, Homecoming, I like the like 808 cowbell Memphis type sound he's got in it. And I like his vocal delivery in that one too. I felt like that beat was great, and he sounded good in it. And lastly, the last song isn't really like a hard-hitting song, but I like Bigger Than Life. I think Bigger Than Life is kind of like more melodic, straight back. Kind of reminds me of like Tycho or something like that. So it's more like poppy, rappy than hip hoppy, if that makes sense. But I felt like it was pretty good. I really liked the beat in it. It's kind of melodic, very relaxing. I liked the way it progressed. I love the choirs in the chorus, and I like how he sounded. He kind of, again, he approached it really cleverly with the way his vocals sound. You know, it's very melodic, and it works really well with the beat. And I love that track. I listened to it a bunch of times. It's not for everyone. I wouldn't recommend it to someone who's like a hardcore Wu-Tang Clan fan or something like that. But I would recommend it to, like, you know, I would recommend it in general, right? And There were a couple of other songs in here that I liked, like Pop. I love the beat on Pop, but his vocals, the lyrics were just a little bit too much. You know what I mean? Like when he's that bit where he's just repeating one word over and over and over again, it's a bit like, okay, bro, like what were you thinking? Like it just doesn't sound good. And Low Main was cool, but the beat wasn't that great and the vocals weren't that great. So overall, it was cool, but it wasn't amazing. The rest of the album to me is okay. It's nothing spectacular, but it's decent and it's okay. It's not maybe decent, strong word, but it's kind of mediocre to me. It's just whatever. It's not like completely whack, but it's not anything I'd really go back to in a few years' time or I'd really recommend. You know, it's just okay pop rap. You know. Yeah, and that way and Futsal Shuffle were trash. Like, before anyone says some comment, those two songs were trash. The rest of the album though was pretty cool. Yeah, so overall this album, it's a pretty good album, and the choruses to me were kind of like they suited the song. So if a song was kind of mediocre or whatever, you know, the chorus didn't really elevate it. But if the song was really great, the chorus also didn't really. It kind of just worked, right? The choruses overall were pretty good. My favourite chorus on this whole thing, though, was actually on the bonus disc, which I'll get into in a sec. Also, I want to shout out the producers who produced my favourite songs. So shout out to Super Mario for producing Sully Watch. Shout out to Brandon Finessen for producing You Better Move and Pop. A shout out to Bugsy. I think Bugsy had a production in a couple of other songs as well. So Bugs Ronan, sorry, having production in a couple of the other songs as well, but he was the main producer for Homecoming, and I love that beat. And also shout out to Des Rights and Ugi Main for producing Bigger Than Life, which is a beat that I did go into that I really liked. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about now is the bonus disc, because bonus disc came out a week after this album came out, and overall it was worse in my opinion, but there was still some joints in it for sure. There was still some songs in it that I go back to. You know, there's two in particular, Yessirski and No Auto. Yessirski, Pierre Bourne did that beat, he killed that beat. He also did another good beat on the bonus disc. I think he did Money Spread. That was a really good beat too. And yeah, and the beat was really, both those beats were really great, you know, kind of fit within the sound. I would say Money Spread though, to me was kind of, like, the beat was great, but I don't really care for the vocals. Like, Lil Uzi Vert was whatever on it, and Young Nudie was straight up trash in my opinion. Like, I did not care for his verse at all. But Yessirski, 21 Savage, he sounded great on it, and the chorus was cool. I know the lyrics are a little bit cheesy, but they work for the song, you know, and the vibe, and they match the vibe perfectly. Lil Uzi Vert was cool in it too. He wasn't as good as 21 in my opinion, but he was still good in it, and it was good enough for the song, and it worked in my opinion. Another song I loved of it was No Auto. Lil Durk and Lil Uzi Vert's verses were cool, but to me the beat was great as well. But my favorite part about it is probably the chorus. You know, like, are you scared, huh? Oh, you pussy! Like, I love that chorus, man. And I love that. And it's probably my favorite chorus between the two projects, if I'm being honest with you guys. Yeah. So overall, I'll probably give the Eternal Atake. I'll probably give it like a B minus B in that range, you know, like a 7 out of 10, a light 7 out of 10 if I was a needle drop, but I'm not. So yeah, so I liked it overall, because most of the album was like, you know, it was whatever, but like in that C range, but it had those A range moments, and I had like 3 or 4 of them in my opinion to me. Sure, I wish the content was a bit better, sure, I wish the rhymes were a bit better, but it is what it is, and they worked. They weren't like always whack, and when they were whack, it kind of, I mentioned it like on Pop, you know, like where it was just like, oh, for goodness sake, and a couple of other songs where, you know, I don't really, you know, they're whatever songs to begin with. Yeah, so overall, that album was pretty good. It's my second favorite album of the year. Again, not much of a compliment. There are only really a couple of albums that I think are cool that are slightly worse than it, and I'll probably go into my favorite album or mixtape this year next week. Now with the bonus disc is in that C range, you know, like maybe a C plus on a good day, you know, like 2 songs that I like, you know, 2 songs that I love, another beat that I love, but you know, it's like 2.5 songs that I like out of like, what, 10 songs. Yeah, it's kind of weak in my opinion. But yeah, so what I want you guys to know is, do you like this album or the Deluxe album? Which one do you prefer? Are there any Lil Uzi Vert like projects that I missed out? Let me know, or just great songs that aren't on either of these 2 projects or aren't shells. Let me know in the comment section below. Was there any new projects that I missed out this week? Again, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, like this video. If you dislike it, dislike it. It's all cool. You know, I just want people to, you know, express how they feel here. Yeah, and if you've got something to say it in the comment section below. That'd be good, you know, good or bad. I'm all ears. And yeah, so subscribe if you want more. Yeah, and let me know what you want me to review next with regards to new projects. So I'll try and get to you next Thursday. Okay, it's Freelancer. See you in a bit. Peace.